So it is Tiana Adeje, and I have some brothers of mine. I don't know if they want to introduce themselves. I'll introduce them, however it goes. Let's do this. Let's introduce ourselves. Starting at the top, Mr. Cecil. I
How
just
y'all doing?
name
How
that
y'all
didn't.
doing? How y'all doing? It's Cecil. Uh, Ministry name Cecil Raw. You know, a lot of y'all may know or may not know that I used to be out here stomping in these trenches with the music. I'm still doing ministry, but just not as on the forefront as far as the stage or whatnot. But for those that don't know, the Raw stands for ready and willing, because I'm always ready and willing to get out here and do what's needed to push forward and just make a better way in this world. You know what I'm saying? So that's it. Father, husband, brother, all that. So pass to the next guy.
Yes, and I hate that my camera is acting crazy, but y'all can keep talking. I may just pick up the audio. Y'all can go ahead.
All right. What's your boy Determined? My name is Alex, Determined AB. And of course, AB stands for Alex Bentley. Of course, I've been doing this music thing. I just love to give glory to God with music, writing, producing music here at home, and just giving God the glory, man. And saying like my boy Cecil Raw, got a family, my wife, children, and now some grandbabies out here, man. It's been a blessing. God has really been blessing, man. So yeah, it's just amazing, to be
here, man. Yeah. Yes, sir. All right now. What you got for us, True?
What's up, man? My name is True Black. You know what it is, Lamont Evans. I'm straight out of South Nashville. JC Housing Projects. But I like to say that a lot, but y'all always hear me talking about South. It's not. I'm just a regular old dude. It's just, my mom was a single parent household. It is what it is. People can make it out. I love doing music. I love producing. I love inspiring and encouraging folks. It is what it is. I ain't finna stop. I don't know when I'm gonna stop, but I might be 100 years old.
Don't ever stop.
Right. Please don't. Please don't. Man, so how I know these fellas is through music, but we just gonna take that hat off just for a quick second because I want to dig into the behind the scenes look of what their opinions and their outlooks and perspectives are about the culture. So to start this thing off, my icebreaker question is, when you hear the word culture, what does that mean to you? And anybody can start and we can just bounce it around. When you hear the word culture, like, what does that mean to you? Like you.
To me, it means like a group of people, a certain group of people. A lot of times we looking at like the culture of hip hop. A lot of times that's a lot of young Black men. It's just what it means to me, just different types of people.
Okay.
I'll piggyback off that. Roots. A lot of times, culture is deeply rooted from something that was that had a lot of meaning to it. Now, the culture can be strong. The culture can it can stand the test of time. And sometimes it can start looking different. But if you dig deep enough and peel back enough layers, you'll go back to the base of what that culture was when it first began, and you'll begin to see the purpose for it. A lot of cultures, the cultural aspect of things really have a lot of meaning to it, but sometimes it gets diluted and lost as time goes by.
Yeah, I agree with that. I believe that when I think of culture, it's about I think culture is the melting pot or the essence of who we are or who a group of people is. What they stand for, those things that make them who they are, the makeup of those people, of a group of people. That's what I believe a culture is. Yeah.
So it's good to hear y'all say that it's a group of people, and you didn't put any specifics on it, because any ethnic or any lineage of family can have their own style or culture
Right.
outlook on different things. So my question for you all is, what are some things you've noticed in the past that may still be happening now to affect the culture, whether negatively or positively?
I think one thing is it's a lot of it's a lot of stereotyping and racism that's still, before, during, now. It can be how you look. It can be, it can be what you have on. I mean, I like to wear my hair like this, or I like hooded sweatshirts, or I like Air Force Ones, like everybody else does, and the different type of colors. But sometimes we can get, we can get stereotyped as far as being as the have or the have-nots.
Mm.
I agree. It's 2023 right now. So back in 2005, 18 years ago, I was involved in a very, 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 very bad car accident. Got 19 screws and 4 plates in my leg. Reason why I'm bringing this up, talk about culture or things in culture or stereotypes, things of that nature. It wasn't until recently that when somebody sees me limp, they say, "Oh, were you in a bad car accident?" But for almost 15 years, it was, "Oh, did you get shot?"
Mm.
People didn't even know me. Didn't even know who I was. Period. Didn't know who I was. Didn't know I had any connection, whether they knew I had any connection to music or whatever the case may be. But they see me limping. "Oh man, hey, did you get shot?" Versus now what is coming to be, even with people that don't know me. So it's kind of refreshing to see that people that don't know me starting to say, "Was it a car accident?" Versus, and I don't know if that's them getting themselves together at home to say, "What, it might be kind of rude." That's almost like, don't ask a woman who might look a little bit on the heavier side how many months are, because she might not be pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's something that they condition themselves for before they leave home to say, "You know what, maybe it's rude for me to assume that just because a young black man is limping, that he may have been shot."
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we're going in the right direction, and it's something that they're just learning to say, "Hey," or "What happened?" Just open end question, "What happened to your leg?"
Mm-hmm.
Versus assuming that it's something bad. So I really feel like that that's something that kind of hurts us. But I'm gonna tell you another thing that also hurts us, and I don't want to just hog it up. I'm gonna pass it you.
Oh, you're all right, brother.
Another thing that if you want to really see how the culture hurts us or how the culture impacts us, just look at TikTok. There's a lot of truth hidden in these jokes, a lot of truth hidden in these reels, a lot of truth hidden in these posts that people do for like. There's a lot of truth in it as well, and you'll see a lot of culture, whether it's one culture adapting to another culture and then doing it in their TikToks, or vice versa. You see a lot of it interchanging. So that's my take on it.
Okay.
All right. Hey, so if you don't mind, ask that question one more time. I want to make
Yeah.
sure that we heard it clear.
What are some things you've noticed in the past that may still be happening now to affect the culture, whether negatively or positively?
All right. I just wanted you to put that question out there again so everyone can hear it. I want to say something that's going to sound as gruesome as I could say it, and that is, and I am gonna look at ethnicity when I say this, and that is the value of a black man, the value of black people. When I say black man, I'm not just talking about man. I'm just talking about the black people as a whole, as our culture, the value of who we are, what we stand for, our family members, our loved ones. Our value has been stripping away from us, has been taken away from us, and I think we have lost, even in the past, and even in this very moment today, uh, we have lost touch with how to get that value back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We take words, and we all know this. We take words that people have called us, right, and and embrace them and turn them into power. And we say this power, but the truth is, these are derogatory slangs that we have taken on to ourselves and turned them into power for ourselves and say that's good when the actuality is not, because those things are not who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We have to find our true identity as a black race, as black people. We didn't find it in the past. And we didn't find it in the past. We didn't find it in our history. We're looking for it in this present day as well, right? From where we know most of our women, embracing names that they shouldn't embrace. our men, we have embraced names that we shouldn't embrace. And we even see it in culture. As a result, we see it even with, I've been, like I said, I've been working with the police department for quite some time, and I see things, right? You see things, that certain people are going to be treated differently in a particular setting, whether it's a good setting or a bad setting. Y'all get what I'm saying there?
Mhm.
So I think that we have lost touch with our identity and the value or the value of who we are as a people.
Yeah.
Now look, and can I add something to that too?
Yeah.
Just to peel back, keep on peeling back layers, and piggyback off what he's saying, because what he's saying is so valid and so true. I feel like, and he already said it, but I just want to touch on a little bit more. You can get like the young ladies, 15, 16, 17, 18, and I ain't going to even exclude the 40-year-olds. They'll call each other the B word. But if a man does it, off with their head. Okay, we're going to transition it over to what he was saying about young black men. They'll use the
Right.
N-word.
Right.
The opposite race said, off with their head.
Off with their heads.
If it's that bad, why are we saying it anyway? So that's one of those things where you have to really, but that's a tough question, because you want to say, well, that's what I am, I should be able to say it, and then the women be like, well, no, it's empowering when we say it. We try to make it fit. And then I'll say this and I'll leave it alone. We're probably going to end up touching on this again, but if you go back to the 1980s, late 70s, when hip hop first came in, it was used to communicate.
There you go.
To our people, to communicate
yes,
to our
sir.
people. So let's just take the word music out of it and say, okay, in our culture, the highest communicating tool, let's go turn on that tool and see what's being communicated. But let's not say music. Let's just, without saying music, if you say, okay, what did we use to communicate with the most impactful as well? Let's go back to that and see what's being communicated. It's scary to see what's being communicated through.
That's
why it was so pivotal and so powerful for what we were doing when we were trying to embrace a culture within and then add a deeper root to lead people to something that's more powerful than they can ever obtain here on earth. But I'm not gonna get all the way into it.
I feel you. I get you though. I get it.
And then we also use different tools, like you said, to communicate, because even in the sound of an instrument, that communicates. And a lot of times I think they feel, well, a lot of people feel as if certain genres are for certain people, but yet we've already had that discussion before, so where any and everybody can listen to anything they want.
There you go.
And that doesn't mean that just because you're of a certain color, that's what you are, or that's what you are stuck with, because they already have this box that they put certain people in at certain times. Like, True, you mentioned the stereotype, and it's just only right to say that a lot of those who are of the African American culture end up in projects, and then those who are of the Caucasian descent, at first I thought that many of them were in the trailer parks and the mobile homes, but in the city that I live in, it's the Hispanics. And so
That's right.
it has boggled my mind for the longest, because you would think differently by the way things were happening in the past. So as you said, Cecil, things are changing. And even with you, AB, it's just the fact that all three of you are carrying a legacy at the moment, because as Black men, and it's just so happen to be that all three of you are of that descent, but you have something in common, a lot of things in common, actually, because you communicate through music. That's one. Your fathers, your husbands, and you have grandchildren. So that's a legacy. And not too many men of your descent can speak on that. And so what can you say from your family's perspective as to what impact you make? This is not in the questions, but this is just to see, just so someone can get an understanding that you all still make a difference in the families. So what can you speak on from your own perspectives as it relates to your family?
Be the difference you want to see. You know what I'm saying? Be the difference you want to see in the culture or in your family and your kids after you, right? So, you know, my mom and my dad both struggled, right? When it comes to going to college and getting an education with which I thank the Lord for that. I was the only one in my family to graduate and then go ahead and go to college and get my degree. Not to say that they couldn't. I do believe that they could, but we all know that a lot of time what gets in here affects what happens on the outside, right? And so you have to learn how to not let anything get in here, right? And so, you know, even now where I work, people tell me, "Oh man, you shouldn't be working there as a black man." That's not true. In order for you, and listen, my job is not to me. I work for the police department. My job is not the enemy to me. It's not at any way, form, or fashion. But let me tell you something. If there is something that we want to change in any way possible, any way, form, or fashion, we got to change it from the inside. So you got to get in there. And you know what we know what we talk about, even with the word. You get into the what? You get into the camp, right? So we have to make sure in order to make the change, we got to go and do it from the inside, right? And so I've taught my sons that don't let anyone tell you that you can't have anything or you can't do something or that was told to me that was impossible for black people. I was told that college was not even made for a black man. Listen to that. I mean, listen to that.
Yeah.
I was told that college was not a place for black men. That's what I was taught when I was growing up. Can you imagine if you taught that to your children right now and they go up on a job to get a job and they have the know-how and the knowledge, but because they didn't have a college education, someone who is less in the levels of their skills can get their job because they don't have the paper to prove it. See, so I had to become what I didn't see. I had to become that so that my sons can see that they can do the same thing in hopes that they will show that to their children as well, to my grandkids. So be the change you want to see. You know?
Be the change you want to see. Most definitely. I agree. Want true or
Oh man, I like that determined. I like that right there.
I
You
feel
can
you, man. I
go for
appreciate
that.
it.
Yeah. But you know, it's kind of like we write these records and stuff and to encourage people, and we're at these churches and stuff like that. But truly, you know, your ministry starts at home before
There you go.
you go out. Because it's a sad thing that the world will love you or the church will love you or your job will love you, but at home it's chaos and stuff like that. So you know, ministry really just starts at home. Just being an example and stuff, and you know, we just out here just to encourage people, just to take our little light in this dark world, because it's such a dark world. There's enough negative already out there. We just bring our light to it.
So this is great. I love my brothers. Okay, determined said, "Be the change."
right.
my big brother said, "It starts at home." Even before he spoke, what I was going to say hasn't changed. In order for you to start at home and be the change, you have to be present.
Right.
So you need to be present at home or in your children's life or your kids' life in order to make that change. And unfortunately, a lot of times we're put in situations where we're not able to be present. So a lot of times people ask me, and this is just now hitting me in my older ages, my older age. Hey, man, you must have had it good. Your dad was a pastor, mom was a nurse, this, that, and the other. And there was one thing I never done that I've recently started to do and think. And me and my dad are like this, have the same birthday, talk every day. He just texted me this morning. But I asked my dad, I said, "Dad, you were you were a missionary. You traveled. You went for months and I didn't see you doing God's work." But I know a lot of times you can talk about a man being absent because he's incarcerated. Well, I feel like a family growing up with a man that is in the military, you go away for 4 years at a time. If you have somebody who's strong in ministry, I was strong in ministry. By the grace of God, thank the Lord, I was able to travel with my kids. When I saw determined, he was traveling with his kids. So it added a different level to ministry. So I say all that to say it's very important for us to be present and then also yeah, just be present. I can go on, but I feel like you're gonna have a lot of questions. It's gonna get more dialogue going. I don't want to hog this question up.
No,
Yeah, that's a good question.
you're actually fine, because I was about to jump into the next one. Right, so I had some technical difficulties, so I had to switch over to a profile picture, but we're just gonna keep this thing going. My next question for the fellas was, well, to go back, we were talking about the generations and how they're affecting, how they're making an impact on their children and with their own respective legacies. And my next question to them, let me make sure my mic is okay, cool. The next question for them was, do you think one specific gender has made an impact on the younger generation than the other, and how so? Again, I'll say, do you think one specific gender has made an impact on the younger generation than the other, and how so?
Wow, that's a good question. That's a
Very
great
good question. Very good question indeed.
So I
Go
feel
ahead.
like we equally own this. It, but we own it from different aspects. You know,
Okay.
I think it's, gosh, it draws me back to culture altogether, because you have women trying to stand ground as a, not a male figure, but that tough love. And it's hard to mimic something that you weren't naturally given the gift to do. You're a nurturer, you grow. Yes, you're tough. You're tough. I feel like y'all are the toughest things in the world. Y'all walk in hills, y'all have babies. Two things men can't do.
that
Another story. But anyway, but I feel like with men, and I know with what True Black was saying, it typically sways towards the men in lyrics, but almost equally with the women. So it's hard for me to separate and figure out if there's a gender that affects it more. But I will say that, let me just speak from one aspect. I'll say music from men tend to give our younger generation false drive, or false direction, excuse me. Because they have the drive, but it gives them false direction, has them driving in the wrong direction. So I can speak about it for the women, but I think for what I see in the men, the young men are being led astray by the older men, or the men who have platforms. So I will say, for me, and what I see and what I've been encountering, from, based on your question, is there a gender that has affected our younger generation more than one, whether it's good or bad? I would say I see mainstream males in hip hop. Mainstream males in hip hop do a very bad disservice to our younger generation as a whole. Like, there, you can't, you can finger some out and say, okay, well, this one isn't, this one isn't, this, but as a whole, I'll say I would lean towards saying the men in hip hop who have platforms, unfortunately, have been the ones, because that's our main way of communicating. And if that's our main way of communicating, then it's impossible for a person to hear music on a repetitive basis and it not control their actions in their heart. Because when you take the word heart and you circle the middle three letters, HEART, the middle three letters is ear. Your ear is in the center of your heart. So think about all the stuff that everybody on that platform is doing and what they're sending to our younger generation. And you don't see anybody trying to do drive-bys to how great is our God. Ain't nobody pulling up, how great is God. It doesn't feed, that, what you're looking for. It doesn't feed that spirit. So when you think about the music that's out here, the music, and it comes from both, but I'm just speaking from a male standpoint, is really a detriment to our younger generation.
You know what? I'm gonna try my best to, to say this with all intents and purposes of being true to what I see. Now, I will say this. Hey, look, I feel both of my brothers on this, and they're absolutely right. You know, the avenue of hip hop has been used, and without, I don't even want to say without knowing, but subconsciously has been used and has really brought our generations to an all-time low when it should have been the other way around. And y'all are absolutely right, man. And I would I would love to say that I would love to say that the impact that we have made as Black men has been great, but I cannot sit here and say that. I honestly can't. I don't, there's some individuals, there are some of us who really want that. I mean, I won't pour from that, but when you look at it as a whole, we have an issue. We have a problem. We do have a problem, right? We, we have, we have our sisters. Let's talk about, and this is what I see, even based on, there's a lot of things you cannot unsee when you do the job that I do, and the things that you hear. There are a lot of there's a lot of Black women who start businesses, right? They start business, and then they don't want to just start businesses, but when they'll see another sister trying to start a business, high five that sister, and will continue to start a business along with that girl. She'll like her jeans, like her shoes. She'll like her hair, like her shirts, her dress, or her jacket with her purse. She'll like all of that. They will vibe together, and they will make more money together. That's an impact on our kids. That's an impact on our kids there, because they see that. Let's look at the other way around. I just got to be real, and it's just what I see. And we have our brothers start a business. You see where I'm coming from, Black.
Come on.
Get somebody out there like Nipsey Hussle. Yeah, he didn't start out right, but when did most of our lives ever start out right? When did we even have a good when did any of us had a good carved out perfect wooden spoon to eat from? Let's not own a gold or silver spoon. A good carved out wooden spoon that was good enough to supply needs as a child. You develop from the culture you grow in, right? And here's Nipsey Hussle. He did some stuff. He wasn't perfect, but he got into the rap game. It wasn't perfect, but he started giving back. He started trying to do stuff for the neighborhoods, right? He wearing these nice shoes, nice clothes, wearing these chains and these shirts, and he got his hair did up real well, busting his glasses, getting off planes on videos, and instead of other brothers liking that and supporting him, they killed him. So look at what happens with the gender as far as how Black people is concerned. This is what I'm looking at. Our sisters will build each other up where they are, because when they have the chance to. The thought of murder is not there. But our brothers, when we see each other excel, there's jealousy, there's envy, there's strife, and there's nothing else seen to bring them down but death. We've seen a lot of it. A lot of it. So when I look at what gender has impacted, our generations now in a good way, it has been our sisters. Just got to be real. And our brothers, we need a come up. We need a change. We need a whole nother thought. We need a whole nother thought. Because if we don't, we'll watch good-hearted people. They may have not been wholesome when they started, but it's not about how you start, it's how you finish.
And it
We'll watch good, wholesome people with a messed up background die before they could even blossom or bloom and blossom to what God wants them to be. It just won't be there. Won't make it.
And it's all in a source of entertainment. But then it's even in what we see in the neighborhoods or whatever our lifestyle has embraced. And the way we promote stuff as well. I know that if it looks good and sounds good and people are easily going to be attracted to it, that's what they're going to keep pushing. And it's that
Every time.
push. It's
Yep.
that uncomfortable pressure. It's that uncomfortable force that causes us. And I was saying this in my other podcast, is when you have that unnecessary force coming your way, your only option, as some in the culture, is to push back. And we push back with defiance. We push back with jealousy. We push back with this bitterness, this, oh, I ain't gonna do it, because it's just, and it's, haven't you been in opposition long enough? Like, and that was the first question. What happened in the past that is still occurring? That push, that whole feeling the need to fight for everything that you feel like you deserve. So when does that cut off? When does that stop? And I want to know, and this is the last question too, is what generation seems to be more motivated about things that are of the positive, or about anything? Is it the younger? Is it the middle age, or the older? And why do you think that is? Like, why do they seem more passionate to go, like you said, AB, is just to work together? Who seems more motivated?
Cecil, I know you got something, brother.
Our generation right now, the generation, I'm in a generation right now where I pay homage to the generation before me. They done a lot. I really feel like a lot of times we don't get the resources. They may not have gotten the resources. They did it the best way they know how. But I think our generation does a disservice to know where there's information to make things better, and they don't seek it and don't go after it. I'm in a position right now where I'm really trying to build generational wealth, like really, really in the process of building generational wealth. I literally just, and just to touch on one thing, I wouldn't be here and be the man that I am without my mother. So I just want to just share something real quick.
Yeah.
One from my mother, I wouldn't be here. Lost my mother in 2009, and the one thing that I regret is that I can't find all the pictures that I had with my mom. So for me, I have an extra phone that I just got that I literally go on this phone every other day and do specific videos to each one of my kids and each one of my grandkids. It's not even active. It's not an active phone. It's going to be in my safe. And Lord, if the cycle goes the way it should go with my kids burying me, they'll be able to have some keepsakes with me having specific messages to them, because I want them to be able to hold on to something more tangible than just, it's still just a memory, because I'm not going to be here in the physical, but just something that they can have. And I really feel like the few pictures that I have with my mom, the few videos I have with my mom, that's something that kind of builds me up and helps me drive and go further and go strong. So from an aspect of my direct lineage, my kids, I feel like doing a service for them while I'm here is to try to teach them how to build generational wealth, hold them accountable, be present, and things of that nature. And I feel like no different than we were when we were that age. How many of us had an opportunity to go out to North Nashville and buy a plot of land for $30,000 when it was on sale for $30,000?
Right.
Even if you had to go out and take a loan, it just wasn't in our mind to do that. But now that same plot of land is selling for $450,000, $500,000.
Listen to that.
You see what I'm saying? So it just wasn't where we were. So at the end of the day, now we're sitting here looking at like, man, we can either do one or two things. We can either say, oh man, prices are too high right now, knowing that it's going to continue to go up. Yeah, it might vary a little bit, or you can go ahead and make a decision and say, hey, let me go ahead and get me some. The one thing they're not going to make anymore, they're not saying, hey, we got to make some more land out south.
That's it, bro. Yes.
So I just say from a stance of making generational wealth, making an impact for the present and the future, let's start owning some stuff and stop renting some stuff.
Yeah.
And I know I went all over the board, and I apologize for that, but that's just
you good.
No,
I enjoy.
you good.
Yeah.
You good. You good.
Perfect information. Perfect.
Good. Who's next? True.
I was up in there, and you was talking about which culture is, I think you said is better or something. A lot of times we look at stuff like kids and teenagers and stuff today, you'd be like, man, we wasn't that bad and all that. but it's still our responsibility. We just can't keep pointing fingers and then be scared of them. You got to just
There
talk
you
to
go.
a lot of people. Just want to be. None of these kids just want to be a part of something, man. I can talk about. I can have any kind of conversation. You want to talk about making beats. You want to talk about the game. You want to talk about Jay-Z. You want to talk about, I listen to Jay-Z. I listen to these guys like they listen to him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna just try to just try to put them down. For a lot of times, that's all they know. They know how to dress like or how to talk like, or like, man, you ain't got to, don't say all, you ain't got to say all that. But just kind of just put your arms around them and just embrace them instead of tearing them down.
That's true. That's true. AB?
Yeah, I agree with True on that. I do agree with that. We right now the music it talks to our kids, like you were saying earlier, True Black, and like you were saying also, Raw. The music talks to our kids. It does, and we have to be able to hear and understand we have to be able to hear and understand what they're hearing. Notice what I say, hear and understand what they're hearing. In order to be able to, in order for us to be able to cultivate the land that they walk on in their life, because we can say, okay, yeah, this is what they're saying, but this is what they really mean, right? Or this is what you really should do. I feel what they're saying, but then what if they do that and this happened right here? I mean, there are so many. I mean, how many of the songs, like even right now on the radio, like we all know when we were coming up, there was no way in the world that the music we hear on the radio station now would have been played back then. But it's what's making the world the money. It's what's making the radio station the money. So they will much rather play it for your kids and my kids to hear so they can make their income. Whatever happened after that, when they get it, it's up to us to help our kids learn how to navigate and how to use what they're hearing. The one thing we won't be able to stop is what they're hearing.
Right.
But we can show them, we can help them navigate their lives around what they hear.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole shunning thing, like we're a lot of folks are quick to push things away just because it's something that they don't want to deal with. No, try it for a minute or two, like you said, True. Just see what's going on in their minds and stuff. I have countless conversations with young people and even family members and those that I may not even know, just to see where their mind is at, because it's important. And I know we hear it a lot, especially through the culture. It's this whole mental health thing. Like that's another topic in itself. And I had one before, but it's a nonstop topic to understand, like, what in the world has people of the culture just really just down and out. I understand that we have the oppression, we have the oppression, and then we have the people that don't really deal with their family issues, who don't really deal with these tough situations. And even if they try, they only do it for a second, but try to do it by themselves. No, try to find that support, or try to be amongst those who you can relate to or who relates to you, so that you won't feel alone. And then I know, and this is kind of back and forth with the whole church thing. A lot of people want to refer people to the church. You probably have more support, and it's not to knock away the church, but you have probably more support by those who you see on a daily basis than just on a Sunday. And a lot of people can attest to the fact that there are more people that they know that they're not even related to, who are quick to pick up the phone. But you got family members who don't want to pick up the phone until the next week. Oh, I thought you needed something. Okay. So it's like knowing who you're dealing with and how you can relate to those that are even of a different age group. So yes, I do agree with all of you. There's a difference in those who are motivated, because to me, I feel like those who are older are motivated by seeing the younger ones make something of themselves.
Right.
You have those who are in the middle age, who are about my age but close to y'all's, is that we trying to be trying to be that light that they see, trying to let them see that it is possible to have your own business. It is possible to be an entrepreneur and not think twice about who you may be offending or whatever, because we worked hard for it. So our ancestors do it, heard about so-and-so doing it in our family, and we're going to go get it too. And then
Totally
you have the
agree.
younger ones who's just like, they want to see something. They want to see something. They want to hear something. They want to, that, like you, again, like you said, True. And when I have those conversations with them, it ain't always got to be about a specific topic for me. I'm down with talking about whatever you want to talk about. You want to talk about, you know, the latest shoes. I can try to get with you on that. I may not know a lot about it, but just try.
Right.
So, and it's good, like you said, AB, about understanding. Cecil, you had everything with the keeping memories. They like to see stuff. Like I said, they like to see that. My daughter gets a kick out of seeing pictures of me when I was little, her age. Like what? And to me, I'm thinking, oh, I look raggedy. I look what? No, that's not what she's looking at. So, fellas, I do appreciate y'all. I don't have no more questions, but if y'all have anything that you would like to advise to anybody who may be listening or watching.
I say this, and then I go and be present. That's just my takeaway is be present, because even with what True said, it's so powerful. And even with what you just said, you say when you engage with those guys, even if you don't engage with those individuals on the exact level, the fact that you're present is what levels the playing field. You're present, you're there. So that's why they'll gravitate to what you're saying. The other thing I say, since we're talking about culture, let's talk about this, or think about this, something to think about. It doesn't make you weak if you have to go get somebody to talk to about your problems.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
If you want to talk about culture, our culture is very big on saying you're weak, something is wrong with you if you have to go talk to somebody. Listen, if there's anything that I want you to leave with from this whole thing, go talk to somebody if you need to. Trying to deal with it on your own is not always the way to do it. I'm just, but seek wise counsel.
Wise.
You don't want to go talk to somebody that's going to talk to somebody. You want to talk to somebody that's really going to take it in. Somebody who's a professional, or somebody you can trust, whether it's Big Mama or somebody else's Big Mama. Because back in the day, I had multiple Big Mamas, and they used to give me some of the best advice. It don't make you weak. It don't make you weak. So if you really want to talk about culture, let's talk about that. Let's talk about breaking that curse of thinking that you're weak if you have to go talk to somebody.
True. Yeah.
My thing is, you know, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. It is this what it is. We just gotta get out here, and we gotta just always think positive. I mean, you never know what somebody's going through that you encounter. You may go get some gas. You know, gas is high or whatever. You're like, yeah, we got a car to drive. You know, or we got money to put the gas in. Or you know, just telling somebody, just good morning. You don't know what type of day or whatever that they're having. We don't have to join in this being so negative and all that kind of stuff. But they ain't gonna want what you got. They gonna be like, Drew Black complaining about the gas and the rent and everything else too, but just being a light.
Yeah, you know, a True Black, I gotta say this, man. You live up to your name, True Black, but I gotta say, man, your heart shine bright as the sun, man, all the time, dog. Yeah, you know, it does, man. I mean, I've never heard anything come out of your heart negative, man. I mean, you always have looked at the positive side of things, and that right there, I mean, I'm telling you, it is. It's man, no, that's a beautiful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing. And you know, I thank the Lord. I thank the Lord for that, man, because that's always who you've been, man. I do want to say this, and I definitely piggyback off what Cecil said. You know, getting help is where God is when you are present. I think I want to go back to what we were talking about with the church, and you know, I love ministry, I love church, and I thank the Lord for it on the daily. You know, the Bible even say, forsake not the gathering of the brethren. But I want to say this, that we have to always keep in mind, because I had to learn this, that the church is full of sick people. That's why we
Mhm.
go to church. We are going to church to get, we're going to church to seek godly counsel the same way of anyone else is. So when you walk into the church and that person next to you is sitting on the pew, understand that they are there and they're hurting just like you are. They're sick just like you are. But the brothers and sisters coming together, understanding this right here, that we're overcome by the, the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony, right? What help us is being able to have that communication with each other that builds that light, that same light that True Black has, right? That's what we want to become. Being able to let our light shine so that the world can see it. And we can't go we can't go to churches, and I had to learn this. We can't go to churches with expectations of being healed when I walk in the door. It's just not going to happen, because you might run into someone just as hurt as you are, just as vexed as you are, and can't trust anybody just like you can't, right? So God is where we all need him to be when we need him. So when you have that big mama, or all those big mamas that speak to you, that give you wise counsel, that's God. When we talk to that guy that's at the gas station for a few seconds and give you some wise counsel, something that they said to you that stick to you, that's God. When you go to work and you sit next to that coworker that hardly probably don't say much at all, but when you get to talking to them, they share something with you that just enlighten your spirit, that empowers you, that gave you some strength. That's God speaking. So he's everywhere for us at the same, all at the same time, not just at church, So we just have to understand that the same brokenness we get anywhere, we can possibly get it there, But that's not a discouragement to church. Obviously, I'm at church every Sunday that I can be, without working. But it's a true saying that we must understand that hurt is everywhere, but God is also.
All right.
And with that being said, I'm gonna try to keep it on the video as long as I can, because I feel like I was just behind the wall. But fellas, I do appreciate you, brothers. I appreciate you. Like I was telling you guys earlier, I'm gonna try to have another part to this where it's gonna be the other half of the people who weren't able to join us on this one.
Hey, send me the link.
Yeah,
I might not do no talking, but I at least want to be on it. I think I'm gonna make myself available. I'm not, but I'm gonna make myself available.
It's the same one that I just sent y'all. So yeah, and so I'll let y'all know, give y'all a heads up. But outside of that, man, I just wanted to open this door, just swing it wide open, because I know that there's a lot more that we could talk about, but I just wanted to tiptoe into this one and just see where this one led us to. And I appreciate each and every one of you, and just keep being the light that you keep shining your light, like you said, and just making sure that your legacy is continuously growing strong, and that you're not just your children, but your children's children are hearing what you have to say, and that we are hearing what they have to say as well. So that there won't be any gaps of miscommunication anymore, and continuing those same old cycles that can be broken. Even those curses. I know I'm big on generational curses.
Yes.
Generational curses being broken, and that's just been my heart and my passion, even with my family and for what I'm doing. But fellas, if there's nothing else, continue to let your business keep growing and be an impact, a motivation to those who are around you. All right. I think I do. I think.
Thank you.
Two things real quick, sis.
Yes,
Two
yes.
things real quick. I want to say thank you for creating a platform where we can come together and be real like this. That's highly important. That's amazing. You have been doing a wonderful job. I know they've been watching you like I have. You've been doing an amazing job. Thank you for the bottom of our heart. May God continue to bless everything that you've been doing. And the second thing is you got to have a podcast about generational curses so we can get on here and talk about it.
Okay. That'll probably be next. So y'all just be on the lookout, okay? Because I just, I just been trying to get as many people, because not too many people want to talk, unfortunately. But if I do have people like you all that want to talk, I will most definitely reach you.
Okay? Absolutely.
I appreciate you, fellas. Y'all keep taking care, okay?
All right.
Thank you so much.
See y'all later.
All right.